Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good morning to all of our listeners here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Welcome to another edition of Front and Center, where we put very significant issues affecting our country, the Philippines, as the program title says, Front and Center. On behalf of our colleague Jerome Toledo, I'm your host for today, Steph Vicente, joining you all for a 30-minute worth of talk discussing important matters with our government officials, people from the private sector, or even members of the academe. As seen through our video live streaming, you may watch and listen to Front and Center through our Facebook page. Just search Radyo Pilipinas World Service. The same goes for our official YouTube channel. Meanwhile, we also have an audio live streaming thanks to the Evox PBS Receiver app. You may download the said app via Google Play Store if you are using an Android phone or via App Store if you are using an iPhone. Once you have entered the Evox PBS Receiver app, just find the logo of Radyo Pilipinas World Service in order for you to be able to listen live to our programs such as Front and Center. For the first part of today's edition of Front and Center, we are going to talk about what were discussed during a press briefing led by Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla yesterday, October 21, 2025. One of the points being raised by Ombudsman Remulla in the said press briefing is the digitalization of the operations of the Office of the Ombudsman to fast-track its processes. As Ombudsman Remulla has said, they are going full pace for the digitalization of the Office of the Ombudsman so that they can be paperless in a certain amount of time. He added that they noticed that the Office of the Ombudsman is way behind digitizing the style of management from basic communications and case management, mentioning that cases often take time to be transmitted because documents are still sent through traditional mail. It could be recalled that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. had once directed all government offices to digitalize vital services when he outlined the achievements and programs of his administration during his second State of the Nation address or SONA way back in 2013 or in 2023 rather. President Marcos stated back that digitalization is already a must today and will not only facilitate the ease of doing business but also combat graft and corruption. The president said, and I quote, digitalization is the call of today, not the call of the future, but of the present. It is here, it is needed, and it is needed today. Government must fully embrace digitalization to provide better service to the people through its vital frontline services and its back-end functions. Digitalization will support the government's data-driven, science-based planning and decision-making. It is the greatest and most powerful tool, not just to improve ease of doing business, but also against many forms of graft and corruption. Ombudsman Remulla also emphasized that addressing inefficiencies is important as delays in case handling have led to massive financial losses for the government. In relation to this, he mentioned that the government has lost close to 600 billion pesos from cases dismissed in courts due to inordinate delay in prosecution. It is also noted that Ombudsman Remulla, through the press briefing yesterday, expressed plans to publish new rules to shorten the duration of preliminary investigations, which usually take up to a year. Here is a portion of the press briefing in this regard.
Maybe be paperless in a certain amount of time, paperless na. Kasi nga, the space problem is always there because of the papers that pile up, gather dust. And we noticed that in the DOJ, and we were able to digitize in the DOJ within less than 2 years. We can do that here, maybe faster, because we have the experience already. Yun nga, that also came about because I got word that the government lost close to 600 billion pesos in cases because of inordinate delay. And I'm reviewing that. I will see if that is true. If that is true, we will quantify the losses of government due to case dismissals because of inordinate delay in the prosecution of cases. Yun po yung talaga i-correct natin. That's why, as I always say in the DOJ, it's the deadline is always yesterday. That attitude has to change already here in the Office of the Ombudsman. That every day is important, and every working day has to be filled with goals achieved for the day at least. Dapat ganun na ang attitude namin dito sa Office of the Ombudsman. Yun nga, 600 billion worth of cases lost due to inordinate delay. Billion. We have to review it, of course. But it's very alarming, and I would say that it may be true. Yung mga losses ng government due to non-feasance. Because hindi natin ginagawa yung duty natin, we don't go all out, dapat tumigil na yan. Ano yan eh? Parang yung cases yan ng forfeiture of things that are by the courts. Nabubulok yan sa labas ng korte. Makikita nyo, maraming bulok na sasakyan, maraming napapabayaan. We have to stop this habit na dapat meron tayong way of tracing who is responsible for what. Yun ang isa sa ginagawa natin na yun ang isa sa mga gagawin natin, ginagawa natin na ano rito, na changes. One of the changes we have to undertake here.
Ombudsman Remulla also mentioned in the said presser the possible formation of a team dedicated to environmental protection due to recent floods that expose inadequate accountability among local officials. He announced that subpoenas have been issued to those involved in the allegedly anomalous project in Oriental Mindoro. Individuals implicated to the project were given 10 days to submit their counter affidavits. Subpoenas related to the 5 alleged projects or 5 alleged ghost projects in Bulacan, which were investigated by the Department of Justice or DOJ, are expected to be released on Thursday. Meanwhile, Ombudsman Remulla also said in the presser that the evaluation of the complaints to fact-finding and preliminary investigation to the filing or dismissal of the complaint should not drag on as much as a year. He also added that the faster process won't compromise the quality of the case build-up and ensure that the Ombudsman's office won't be weaponized. Here is an audio excerpt on these points raised by the Ombudsman.
Meron din tayong gustong gawin na ibalik yung environmental ombudsman. And that will come very soon. In the meantime, I might assign one of the assistant ombudsman to handle that ombudsman for the environment. Kasi marami tayong kaso. I think that the floods also show us how bad things are pagdating sa basura. And the environment is the issue there. And local governments are not doing their job in handling garbage and trash and recycling them, or marami kasi dyan, they end up in the waterways. It has to stop. And we want to attribute liability here. Ano yan? Most of the time, ano yan? Trabaho yan ng mayor sa ngayon. Trabaho yan ng mayor sa ngayon. Municipal and city mayors have that option, or not that option, responsibility for solid waste management. At nangyayari ngayon, ay parang tambak lang ng tambak. Hindi pa tayo dumarating sa punto na separation ng garbage. Parang nalilimutan na. Puro plastic tayo. Manila Bay has tons and tons, 1 million tons of garbage in the waters of Manila Bay right now. One of the most heavily plasticized waterways in the world. And one of the richest, one of the most biodiverse waters in the world at that. Sayang, sinasayang natin ang ating kayamanan bilang isang bansa. Ang PI, ang preliminary investigation, maabot ang 1 year allowable under the rules dito. We will change it also. At ang gusto namin, 60 days, tapos ang PI, 60 days. Ang fact-finding, 60 days. Ang PI, 60 days, when necessary. Kasi may mga kaso na hindi na kailangan ng fact-finding. Example, the DOJ cases filed. Nung pinabuksan natin, so we are composing the teams already. At by Thursday, we will start the preliminary investigation of the cases, the flood control cases filed by the DOJ. And the other cases filed by Secretary Dizon and the ICI, umpisahan na natin yan. And those that we deem fit to go straight to PI, we will do already. But we have 5 cases at least going to preliminary investigation already. Which means, pwedeng mabilis kasi ang period naman dito to answer is 10 days. And we can join the issues immediately. At the rest would be history na lang. At ipa-file na yan sa Sandigan Bayan. So we had a long discussion about that. The way that things run here. Kasi nga, birthing pains pa to eh. Wala pa nga tayong 2 weeks dito. From evaluation to fact-finding to preliminary investigation to prosecution, umaabot yan minsan taon eh. That has to stop. It either dismiss it or file it. Dalawa lang yan, walang matutulog dapat. Everything has to move. Yun ang ating goal dito. And we expect things to behave better. And of course, we still need dialogues pa with the judiciary and research on the part of the special prosecutor. Kasi nga, yung full restitution mode na pwedeng gawin, we want to put it into motion. Yung full restitution. Para mga plea bargain ng mga taong concerned, pwede mag-plea bargain basta may full restitution ng government. Yun po yung mga, today, yan ang mga pinag-usapan namin. And yung standard na probable cause, again, we will elevate it to reasonable certainty of conviction. Ganun na rin ang gagawin natin dito. Kasi nga, para hindi weaponized, para hindi probable cause kulong na, tapos nakalimutan yung kaso, hindi na mangyayari yun. We have to respect the rights of people. So, try them faster and acquit them or convict them faster. So they serve their time properly.
At this point, we'll just have a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the resumption of the e-visa program for Chinese nationals. We are expecting to be joined by our Philippine Embassy in Beijing. What is the importance of this resumption of the e-visa system to Chinese nationals, particularly to the Philippine tourism industry and our overall economy? Front and Center will be right back after a few reminders from our station.
This is a public service announcement.
Discipline is the key. Umiwas sa aksidente sa daan. Ang pagmamaneho ay may kaakibat na responsibilidad, hindi basta mapaandar lang ang sasakyan. Kilatisin ang sarili, ang kahandaan sa manibela, siguruhing inyong konsentrasyon ay hindi magagambala. Importante rin na ating laging isipin, init ng ulo ay huwag pairalin, bagkus kaligtasan ng lahat ang siyang dapat unahin. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
This is a public service announcement.
Public service announcement
From PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
Paliwanag mo sa tao na hindi totoo yan.
Dahil ang totoo, yung totoo ang dapat ninyong malaman.
Nagkalat sa internet ang fake news
Ang
o
ginagawa
mali
ng
at
fake news, tinatapon niya yung tao.
What they are doing is creating panic.
We say no.
Yung pagkalat ng fake news. And some of it's dangerous.
Sana iwasan po natin pagsispread ng fake news.
At di magpapakalat ng disinformation at misinformation ang kasulukuyang administrasyon.
Stop telling us fake news because you're wrong.
Para sa totoo at mapagkakatiwalaang mga balita at impormasyon, Radyo Pilipinas.
This is a public service announcement.
Maging handa sa oras ng sakuna. Para sa iyo at sa iyong pamilya, laging siguruhin. Go Bag ay nakahanda at naglalaman ng mga sumusunod. Ilang pirasong damit, ready-to-eat na pagkain at inuming aabot ng 3 araw. Personal na gamit para sa inyong hygiene. First aid kit kabilang ang alcohol, bandages, gamot sa lagnat, ubo at sipon, pati na rin ang inyong vitamins at maintenance medicines. Maglagay ng pito, flashlight, lighter o posporo. Huwag kalimutan ang mga charger o power bank. At higit sa lahat, isama ang mga importanteng gamit gaya ng inyong mga legal na dokumento, IDs, ATM o passbook, insurance at iba pa. This is a public service announcement.
Public service announcement.
From PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service, and Radyo Pilipinas.
This is a public service announcement.
Alamin, ito ang walang pasok guide batay sa DepEd Order No. 37 Series of 2022. Sa panahong may bagyo, automatic na walang pasok for all levels sa mga lugar na may nakataas na Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal o TCWS number 1, 2, 3, 4 at 5. Automatic suspended naman ang klase at trabaho kung ang TCWS ay inilabas sa oras na nagsimula na ang klase. Para sa mga lugar na hindi kabilang sa TCWS, ngunit nakararanas ng malakas na hangin o ulan, nakadepende kay Mayor o kay Governor ang desisyon sa suspensyon. Tandaan, sakop lamang ng DepEd Order na ito ang levels K-12 sa mga pampublikong paaralan, ngunit may option naman ang mga pribadong paaralan, state or local universities and colleges na sundin ito. This is a public service announcement.
Public service announcement.
From PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service, and Radyo Pilipinas.
Time to celebrate kulturang Pinoy. Tradisyon, musika, sining, literatura at iba pa. Anything and everything fun and Filipino. Ito ang Pinoy Kultura.
It's a leap of faith. Actually more like a 3-step and a sway. Ito ay ang sayaw sa Obando, Bulacan. Sinasalihan ng mga babae at lalaki na humihiling ng anak o asawa sa 3 pintakasing santo. The 3 saints, San Pascual Bailon, Santa Clara ng Assisi, and Nuestra Señora de Salambao. Wikipedia says it's a dance of vitality and abundance performed for 3 days from May 17th to the 19th, 1 day devoted to each saint. The festival starts off with a mass and later in the day the dance procession is performed, where devotees sing the Santa Clara song and melody to the Blessed Virgin of Salambao, their Thanksgiving song. The festival could be traced to an ancient ritual called Kasilonawan, a celebration of the god Linga, a force of nature. When the Franciscan missionaries came, they introduced the 3 saints to replace the pagan gods. In WW2, the Church of Obando and much of the town was pretty much destroyed, including images of the 3 saints. The festival was banned because of its pagan roots. Religious processions were still held, but the dancing was not allowed. But in 1972, the new parish priest and the Cultural Commission of Obando brought the tradition back. Sayaw sa Obando has survived for centuries, holds up to this day. And yes, it was another victim of the COVID, put on hold just like other mass activities. But in May this year, thousands of devotees, mostly families and couples, came back to pray for children and perform the fertility dance in the streets of Obando. And just to be safe, with face masks on.
Yan ang Pinoy Kultura because our culture is cool.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
We are now back here in the program Front and Center. On behalf of our colleague Jerome Toledo, I'm your host for today, Steph Vicente. As mentioned earlier, before we took a quick break, we will be talking about the resumption of the e-visa program for Chinese nationals. It seems that there are urgent matters now for the Philippine Embassy in Beijing, China, which is why I'll just read here some of the vital information in regards to the resumption of the e-visa program for Chinese nationals. So here are some of the details. So, as mentioned, the Philippine government is set to resume its e-visa program for Chinese nationals in China next month, which is announced last week by the Philippine Embassy in Beijing, China. Just for everyone's information, the e-visa system allows visa applications to be made online, making the process more convenient for those visiting the Philippines for a non-extendable period of 14 days. Once the program is rolled out, Chinese applicants who will visit the Philippines for tourism or business purposes can apply for the e-visa provided that they are entering through the Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA in Metro Manila or the Mactan Cebu International Airport. The embassy said it will soon provide more details about the system, including the relevant websites and procedures for the submission of requirements. Philippine Ambassador to China Jaime Flor Cruz said the embassy as well as the Philippine consulates in Chongqing, Guangzhou, Hong Kong, Macau, Shanghai, and Xiamen will all serve as issuing posts for e-visa for qualified applicants residing in mainland China and its special administrative regions. The embassy said this upcoming launch forms part of its continuing efforts to strengthen people-to-people exchange and facilitate trade and tourism with China. Ambassador Flor Cruz said that the implementation of the e-visa comes at an opportune time. And he added there that, and I quote, under the leadership of Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro, the Department of Foreign Affairs met with the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs last July 2025 for the joint consular consultations. The meeting discussed the importance of people-to-people exchange. Incidentally, also are thrust as the Philippine Embassy commemorates the 50th anniversary of bilateral relations this year. The e-visa program will tap the services of the VFS Global in China, but will use the same system designed by the Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT in 2023. First launched and tested in Manila in 2023, the embassy said the e-visa is expected, and I quote, not only to enhance the efficiency of daily consular operations, but also significantly improve the delivery of services to the public. We hope we could get more updates regarding that from the Philippine Embassy in Beijing when we have another opportunity to reach out to them and to have an interview with the ambassador or other authorized officials of the embassy. At this point, we'll be ending today's edition of Front and Center. We would like to thank our technical staff composed of Milo Jonella, Susan Aison, Hiro Lucero, and Justin Osias, who made this program possible. We also like to thank our on-the-job trainees there, Greg and Will. Thank you for assisting us today. Thank you as well to our station manager, Mr. Ray Sampang. Until the next episode of Front and Center, on behalf of Jerome Toledo, this has been your host, Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.